Father, by the power of the Spirit, may my words draw from your written word and be to us your living word, Jesus Christ, your Son. At first glance, when you look at this passage from Matthew, it seems like a kind of a random set of sayings from Jesus. But as you look carefully, it starts to make some sense. It reminds me of those old kaleidoscopes. Do children still use kaleidoscopes? I don't know. Full of bits of coloured material. But as you turn the kaleidoscope, a picture, some sort of pattern would suddenly emerge, and you'd think, that's it. Basically, this passage is a call from Jesus to his followers to be completely committed. But it comes so in the form of a kind of a sandwich. So think of it a bit like, I don't know, let's say a bacon sandwich. If you're a vegetarian, you're going to hate me, but I love bacon sandwiches. So you have two slices of bread at either end, and they are warnings about the difficulties we may face. But then in the middle, you have the lovely bacon. The sandwich filling is reassuring and hopeful. And if you don't like bacon, you can put cheese in there. And if you're a vegan, I'm afraid you'll have to make it up for yourself. So let's have the first slice of bread. The very first verse that I read is actually rather a poor translation, because I read, "A servant is not above his master," but actually the word that's used in the New Testament Greek is a slave. A slave is not above his master. Now, I don't know what you know about Roman slaves, but the reality is that they had almost no rights at all. And some of their masters were kind, and some of them, we have historic records to show, were frankly appalling. But their masters had absolute power. So the relationship between slave and master is a power relationship where all the power lies with the master. Now, as Christians, we're like slaves, but we're like slaves of a really good master. But it's a good master who has also been called the very devil. And the word used for devil is Beelzebul. And as an aside, Beelzebul is a letter-by-letter translation of the word in New Testament Greek. And it just seems to be a kind of a nickname that was used at that time for the devil or for Satan. So if you're a slave in a Roman household and the master is called the devil behind his back, what are they going to call you to your face? So that's one piece of bread. Now for the sandwich filling, for the bacon. Jesus says, don't worry about what people think. Well, that's easier said than done, you say, but Jesus gives us a key to unlocking this, and the key opens the door to treasure beyond measure. Are you ready? It's very simple. But if you're like me, you're also very simple. So you need to use this key to open this door over and over again, every day, at the very least. And here's the key. The key is this: God loves you. No, not God loves everybody, or God loves the world, or broadly speaking, God loves you. Just God, the God of the universe, the God that if you look up to the stars at night, made heaven and earth and holds it all together. that God loves with affection, with goodwill, with everlasting good intention. God loves you. Today, now, you yourself, not some perfect image that you can't achieve. God loves you, vulnerable, imperfect, the you that's been knocked about by the chances of life. In fact, God loves you whatever you think of yourself. God loves you. And God loves me as well. Together, we are the beloved of God. So frankly, who cares what people think of us? Who cares what people can do to us physically? If God loves sparrows who don't seem to worry very much, how much more does he love one of us? I'm reminded of Neville Emsley. You may remember him. He spoke to us the Lent before last about contemplative prayer. He used to be a Baptist minister, and he told us that he used to take time in the middle of every day to lie down in the middle of his living room floor with a cushion under the back of his head, just to hear again from God that he was beloved. Then he could get up and get on with the messy business of what we call life. Well, if we know that we're beloved individuals of God, the other piece of bread is easy, and this is the call to commitment. Jesus says, "Do not suppose that I've come to bring peace to the earth. I did not come to bring peace, but a sword." Well, I don't know how many of you joined me with the morning prayer on Thursday this last week, but I was talking about passages like this, and if you turn to any Bible commentary anywhere, they'll tell you that this is hyperbole, exaggeration, if you like. And in saying that, they just completely miss the point, because as soon as you say it's exaggeration, you completely undermine the strength of the passage. And I quoted from Greta Thunberg. You may remember Greta, who, I don't know which way you pronounce it, who has been so important in crystallizing the hopes of young people in terms of climate change. And she was talking to the G7 or the G20 at Davos a few years ago, and they were incredibly encouraged by her, and they were praising her for giving them hope. And what she said is recorded in this book here, and I'm just going to read it to you, because it just sets you alight. She says, "I don't want your hope. I want you to panic. I want you to feel the fear I feel every day. I want you to act. I want you to act as you would in a crisis. I want you to act as if the house is on fire, because it is." And the point is that the moment that you say something like that is just exaggeration, you're tempted to do nothing to save the planet. And the moment that you say that Jesus is just exaggerating, you lose the power of his words. "Do not suppose that I've come to bring peace to the earth. I did not come to bring peace, but a sword. It may be that following Jesus in your life means a man against his father, a daughter against her mother, a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. A man's enemies will be the members of his own household. Well, I pray that it's not so, but certainly Christians in North Korea have died after being exposed to the authorities for being Christians by their own children. We hold family as a really important value, I think, in the Len Valley Benefice. And that's a very, very good thing. But always let's remember that following Jesus always comes first. Next week is the online invitation Sunday, as I said in our introduction. And I'm asking us to send details of our online services to other people, to our family, to our friends. Just pass on the details so that they know what's coming. They don't have to log in, but you never know. They might, and they really might get something from it. If we paused to recognize that God's love is all-powerful to us, we won't worry about what people think when we pass on details of this service, because our only focus will be to pass on the good news, not of going to church, but then the good news of Jesus' love to others. And if they think we're nuts, if they think we're fruit and nuts, frankly, who cares? I'm not saying that we do this in an insensitive way, but let's do it with boldness and friendliness and with a sense of confidence that God loves us and God may well work through us. Whoever does not take up their cross and follow me is not worthy of me. Whoever finds their life will lose it, and whoever loses their life for my sake will find it. So what is God calling you to do today? Amen.